Welcome to the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcast, please follow, hit the like button, or any subscribes. It really helps us with the algorithms. Santa Cruz Coffee Break is independent of Santa Cruz Guitar Company, and all opinions are those of the speakers. Santa Cruz Coffee Break is produced by the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum. We invite you to join us on the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at SCGCPF for more fun. Now, let's get on with this installment of Santa Cruz Coffee Break. Well, greetings, forum members. We'd like to welcome you to the 25th, I believe, podcast for the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum. And today we have a signature Santa Cruz artist and also writer-performer, SONiA, and SONiA Disappear Fear. We'll talk a little bit about that and clear that up for me, too. SONiA is a songwriter, a visual artist. She hails from Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore. That's a beautiful city. It really, yeah, it's a beautiful city. She's received many awards, including the Coin of Honor from the U.S. Army for her humanitarian efforts. Fabulous. And the GLAAD Award for the Best Album. She's shared the stage with many of her heroes, including Bruce Springsteen, Pete Seeger, wow, and Peter, Paul, and Mary. When asked about her sound, she says, I think my voice is somewhere between Patti Smith and Perry Como, and my guitar style is Gypsy King Richie Havens flavor. Beautiful. The songs are hers, and you can hear the Beatles and Springsteen. It's really all about energy, like a bird jumping off a window ledge. It's in that spirit of trust and light and talent and God. Now, I have a poem here. Is this is The World is Ready to Disappear Fear? This is your writing?
This is my writing. This is my, this is my mantra, and this is my promise. And yeah, this is what I have to live into.
So I'd like to give this to everybody as a gift from the very beginning of this podcast. We're going to be very informal and very different here. We're going to talk about lots of stuff. So
maybe even guitars.
Maybe even some guitars, yeah. So it says, the world is ready to disappear. A world that is not disappear. No. A world is ready to disappear fear.
Yes, very important.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't miss that off. Let's start that.
Because the other year kind of.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, kind of does. That's the scary part.
Yeah, yeah, that is the scary part. The world is ready to disappear fear. A world that is not scared of itself or who it loves. A world that is ending hunger in many forms. That hunger exists. No one is left out. So tomorrow, when the first rays of dawn reach, like swords of light into your eyes, begin the day like a tango with your soul, in love with life, because you are. Welcome, SONiA.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Boy, yeah. Are we excited? Are we excited for this?
So I can tell you why I wrote that, because I didn't just like ding. It was an urge. I was recording my second album at the studio in Baltimore, and there's songs on it that like a song called French Illumination, and the chorus is, did God make man or did man make God? And there's another song on it called Sexual Telepathy. And my engineer and producer at the time, John, was very uncomfortable with the sentiment of those songs. So he requested that in order to complete the project, I had to write, these views do not necessarily reflect those of John Grant, the producer and engineer. He was born again Christian. And I was like, whoa. And so I had to think about, well, what is this really about? And it was so deep, too, because, you work so closely with your producer and your engineer. I mean, it's hours and days and, as much money as you can spend and shouldn't even spend, to do it in the early, it's everything. And I was it was just to the core of me, what is this? And this is what it is. That is the essence of Disappear Fear. And that's why I do what I do. And that's my idea of living into that for this journey on the earth. Amen. Okay, that's it. That was how that
That
came to
must have
be.
been really hard to have your producer present that to you like that. That I
Well,
think
what
that would put me off my feet.
what happened was when I was recording those songs, and this is he just kind of normally he would be like, "That's awesome, we got it," or do it again, because this is in the days of 8-track where you get what you think is going to be the drum track mixed down to two, and then put the other six things on the other tracks as much as you can. Like maybe you mix down the keyboards or the background vocals or whatever. You're very limited, and you have to get it right. There's no digital fixing, so it's again and again and again. At least it was for me. So for a lot of it. So he just kind of took his hands off the board and sort of sat there, and I was like, "This is weird." So finally, after that was happening in different places, I said, "John, what's going on? You're not really participating on this song." And he said, "Well," he goes, "I'm really not comfortable with what it's about, and I really need you to do a disclaimer on the album." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa!" And I can feel it like right in my solar plexus, or in the pit of my stomach. That it's just in my core what that moment was, and I suppose it's just how I've had to define myself, you know, regardless. Just like, okay, this is who I am. This is what it's about for me. Uh,
It's such a personal um, experience recording. I mean, you really are opening your soul completely because you're trusting that person to give you the best possible answer.
totally.
I
To-
mean, because they're saying, well, I don't really know if I like that or I like this, and you're going, well, I've lived with it for 2 years, and then all of a sudden you have to go, okay, I'll open up to that. I
that
mean,
that's very, very true. Yeah, because you're like, because what it would do for me a lot of times is I would come full circle. Somebody would have an idea, and I would not like it at all, and then well, let's just try it. So we would mix it in, and I'd live with it a little bit, and I would either be like, "That's driving me crazy," or we got to get rid of it, or "That's great, that's really cool. I'm really glad we have that." So yeah.
yeah, it's such a personal process that's unusual. I've never heard of anybody doing that before. I've been doing
Well,
it since 1980. I've never heard of that.
yeah. This was 1980. I think 1989 is when we recorded Deep Soul Diver, and I mean that wasn't even like hello, like that wasn't even the gay stuff. I mean that was like, I mean it could have been it just wasn't. There were no. I'm in love with her. There was no that. So he would have probably really backed off then, and I ended up doing most of my albums elsewhere. But I've come back to him. I did another CD there. In fact, the one before the last one I have is called Love Out Loud, and that's a compilation. But the CD before that was called By My Silence, and I thought I could like really be enrolling, and because I think love is enrolling, and certainly music, that's the best part of the brain, right? Or best parts of the brain. And I don't know,
You don't think his attitude had changed, or that his
well,
perspective had
I
opened, or
it was about I'm trying to think exactly when it was. Let's see. When did it Whoopsie. When did it come out? It came out in 2018. So this would have been probably recorded in 2018 and 2017. And Trump was president. And as we were recording, I would see little Trump blips, because he was always tweeting, blips come up on his phone. And I was like, no, no, this is just not gonna. I didn't know, I guess you just got to do what you do. I mean, I love John, and he's an amazing musician, but our brains and our fear stems are set up quite differently.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. We're in crazy times right now,
yeah,
and music has. I, I'm thinking that when we come out of this, however it means to come out of what we're in right now, that
Uh,
we're gonna have a renaissance of creativity that's just gonna explode. I'm so excited for it because it's really been kind of cooped up in a lot of people's places. Carolyn's band just played for the first time last weekend in over a year, and the energy behind it was just, the people in the area were just like, yeah, I'm gonna go sit in the parking lot. I don't care if I can't get in. I'm just gonna
Right.
go sit in the parking lot because this is where I want to be and these are people I want to be with. And I think we're just gonna have this big explosion. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's already like we in Baltimore here, we the cicadas are coming out, and
Ah,
which we get. They're called the 17-year locusts, and that's when they happen. And so we have them, and I actually live up on the ninth floor, and they're up here, like attached to the screens and on the balcony and stuff. It's amazing. But so I think it's starting. Like I'm seeing, I can see them attached to the building and everything. And they only come up really to mate and then go back down into the ground. And then they hatch, I guess, down there at some point. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's just it.
I'm a Midwestern boy. We had cicadas.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's a racket. I mean,
Yeah. It's a
it's loud.
Oh yeah, they're not screaming yet though. And it gets loud. You can't even hear yourself,
Yeah,
you know.
it'll get loud.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
no problem. Well, so talking about your recording experience, let's go back and give us a little bit of your history when you got started with music and recording, and when did you decide that this is what you wanted to do and this is what you wanted to present to the world?
So what happened was before guitar there was ballet, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a ballerina, and I spent all day Saturday there, and I went to ballet like a couple times a week. And I guess I was about 13 and a half, and then I got one of these things, and I really started playing it. I took it. It cost $12. After Randy Snyder's taught me the three chords of "Only Love Can Break Your Heart" by Neil Young, A, D, and G, which I played like this, because
Yeah.
I couldn't do this. It was way too hard, but I could do it with my thumbs and didn't really need that. What is that? Note anyway. So, um, um,
So who actually
B, B,
credit
it's
for
B. That's good. The B was missing. That kind of
so
makes
who
sense.
actually gets credit for buying you your first guitar and getting you started on this?
Well, my dad, I played I played when I was little. My dad made our wood paneled recreation room in the basement into a Spanish cellar. He like stuccoed the walls, with
Ooh.
this putty thing. And and he had different things from South America, from Peru and Ecuador and stuff. And so he put a guitar, an old Martini, actually guitar, up on the wall that was his, a classical one, and I would take it down when I was just a little thing, and I would or whatever song was on the radio, probably like Frank Sinatra or something. And then I realized as I was getting older that really didn't sound good, so I needed to learn some notes. So I went, and they would go. I can't play Jingle Bells anyway. And so I forgot the other note. But I didn't. That wasn't guitar for me. So I stopped that. And then Randy Snyder taught me three chords. And so I don't know if you want the long version, but this is the long version. She taught me the three chords. I played them. I played them all night. She taught me it was around dusk, so it was around 9 o'clock in the summer. I played it till I couldn't move my fingers anymore. Went to sleep. Grabbed the guitar first thing in the morning when it was light out, and did the same thing just to make sure my fingers hadn't forgotten it. And that was it. And then I took some lessons for $12. It was $2 to join the youth club and $10 for the lessons for 5 lessons. I think it was like $2 a lesson. Anyway, and and I and learned all my bad habits. All
Uh-huh.
the-
And
but
stopped ballet at the same time?
yes, I started talking to my guitar because I needed to talk to someone, and it was a very personal. My guitar just listened and listened and listened, and tried to figure things out, and is my best friend. So yeah.
But Buddy Guy says the same thing about when he learned boogie chillin'. He said when he first got the rhythm, he's like 11 or 12 or something like that. And he said when I first got that rhythm, he said I played it all night. I fell asleep for a few hours, and as soon as I woke up the next morning, I was back at it just to make sure that I had it. So it's
It's
exactly the same
oh my
story.
God. Well, we're family, you know.
Buddy at 83. Yeah, can't wait.
Wow,
Can't
that's
wait.
who I've always wanted to be. So maybe it'll happen when I'm
Really,
83.
really.
Well, I
I
just, I think all guitar players want to be able to have that, that essence just right there, right there. You know, mm, love it, love them.
wow.
So when did you start performing? I mean, if you got your
Oh,
guitar at like, what, 13 or 14, how long was it before you
oh,
started?
I was performing way before that. The change was is I didn't I was performing for the family, and all the things. I think it's a Jewish thing. Like the kids perform. It just happens. Like after the adults are talking forever, you have to go to these. I guess it's mostly Jewish holidays, and you're completely bored. But the good part is going to be able to do like some skit or something fun afterwards. So we would just like me and my brother and my sister who aren't really performers today. Well, my sister is actually she's an actor, but yeah. So we would just do that, and then in school I would try out, and I would sometimes get the lead in the play, or I remember singing but I can do this, and I remember I went to my music teacher and I sang something from not My Fair Lady, maybe it was My Fair Lady. Um, All I want is a room somewhere. It was horrible, but maybe it wasn't that horrible. I thought it was awesome. I thought my parents really underestimated my talent. I was like, and I really was horrible because I've listened to, old cassettes, and I just really didn't have a clue about pitch at all. And I thought I was awesome. Like on my checklist, it was like, got it, got it, got it, got it. And then I listened to it later. I'm like, no, a little, you know. But anyway, yeah, I was always like, I voted most talented and all that stuff. So yeah, I was
Right.
always doing it. But I did start playing guitar out pretty quickly because it's always been about that, like sharing the music and that connection. And I guess have needed that. So yeah.
Nice, nice.
Mm.
Well, there's so much energy there that it's got to come out.
Ha.
You
Yeah.
know, there's so
Mm.
much it's got to come out, and it's really great that you channeled it into something positive versus channeling it into something negative or anything else. You really channeled that into this. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think also, even of the music itself, I mean, in the early days, I did go through, when you say channeling it positive, was my angst periods. But first of all, and second and third of all, my voice will not out that much, even though I really want to sound like I would love to just have the tone of like Louis Armstrong. That would be
Okay.
like, but that doesn't happen. So I played harmonica to get a little bit of edge, and I, get some edge. But you can dial it in that way a little bit, but I did go through that. But I also figured that I was going to be dead a lot longer than I was going to be alive, and I wanted to leave things that were seedlings and positive things, because I wanted to just leave something good, like good, and yeah. So I decided to write, I guess it's to nurture that, right? You nurture that part, and it grows, and you go through that.
If you're in touch, if you're in touch with yourself, that is what you're supposed to do. A lot of people never find that. A lot of people never find that place that they're supposed to be, and all of a sudden they wake up one day and they're like, they're 50 or 60, and it's like, heck, what am I going to do? I mean, this isn't forever. So you obviously walked right into it. Were your parents real supportive of the music?
No. I mean, I think they thought that's a good hobby, kind of thing. My mom, and also I think they were scared of the big bad world sort of thing. Like I grew up in Pikesville, which is in Baltimore County, just over the city line in Baltimore, Maryland, and it's like this little middle class Jewish bubble, and they did through my life. We did travel, and my parents were very informative, and that the whole world didn't live in this kind of bubble at all. That this, my mother's from New York City, so we went to New York all the time. Well, not enough, but a lot, and even in Baltimore and stuff. So I think they were scared that, I don't know. I don't think, my dad, when I was going to college, my dad thought maybe I should go into occupational therapy, and I don't know what my mother I don't think she had a suggestion, but maybe it wasn't going to be sewing or anything like that. But I just kept doing. I mean, I just kept doing music, and I kind of rejected music academically because I got not accepted into the band when I was in fourth grade, and I tried out. So I didn't make it. Everybody makes it into the band, and I didn't make it into the band. So was I was like, well, fine, I'm just going to do it my own way. I'm not going to learn anything about this, and I'm going to just figure this out. I'm going to figure out my voice. I'm going to figure out my sound, and na 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 na, Mr. Novak and
First,
everybody.
to be honest, you were more of a dancer at that time, so.
True. I was, that's true. But I think I scared him. I think he thought, oh my God, I can't have this in the band, because I was so nervous. And when I get nervous, I freeze. So I might have not said a word to him. I can't even remember. I just remember being super nervous and not being able to answer many of his questions because I was like, just, I was so excited that I think I just froze. And maybe, or I answered him honestly, because maybe he said, "What instrument do you want to play?" And I probably said guitar, because I really wasn't interested in clarinet or trumpet or the other band instruments. So he probably thought, well, I don't have a place for that, I mean, maybe he was just doing a really good job of weeding out the divas. I don't know. Yeah, so that could have been it too. I don't know.
So, how did you find? I want to talk about how you write, but I also want to. How'd you find Santa Cruz?
Well, Santa Cruz really found me. I was
Really?
I used to, yeah, I used to go to, well, I listened and I found it. That's how I found it, because and I played it, and it was just like, and I wouldn't let go. I was at Appalachian Bluegrass Music in Catonsville, Maryland, and I think he had two or three Santa Cruz, and it was Emery. He just said, because I was playing a $100 FG 535 335, or I think, Yamaha. It was a black
Yamaha, yeah,
Yamaha,
yeah, yeah.
and it was a little worked out for me. My friend had put in a different bridge and stuff, and so it was a little it was better. And whenever I would go to Wheaton Music in DC and get it fixed, they would go, "When are you going to get a real guitar?" And I was just like, "This is my real guitar." I mean, I made my first two albums on that guitar, so it wasn't, and it's not that, it wasn't that horrible. So it was great actually, and I loved it. But anyway, a real guitar. So I was looking. I wanted to have my sound and with my voice and my songs, and then I would become Oprah and have my own magazine and television network. But anyway, no, 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 no. I'm just kidding.
And you get a guitar, and you get a guitar.
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome? Hey, you guys could do that. Just gotta, or maybe you could do maybe not a whole guitar, but maybe like a tuning peg. You get a tuning peg, and you get. I'm trying to think of what's not that expensive on the Santa Cruz
Strings.
guitar. You get a part of a string, and you get the nutty part. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, figures. But so Emery gave me a Santa Cruz to try. I think I played I think he had like a Martin something, a brand new Martin. He had a brand new Taylor, and then he gave me a Santa Cruz, and it was love. It was just like, it had such a different kind of sound and a different kind of feel, and I just really loved it. And I wanted one, and I looked at the price tag, and I was like, I can't get this, but I'll work towards it. So I think Cindy, my sister, or it might have been my manager, had talked to Richard and said, well, when she's out touring in Santa Cruz, we'll give her a tour of. So so in 1991, we were out that way. I think it was 91. It was either late. It was either 90 or 91. We went and I met Richard and I got a tour, and I was just amazed. Did not have a clue of any of this. I mean, like I never really thought about it. The bending of the wood, all the nuts and bolts, and no bolts, but you know what I mean. The nuts and truss rod. I never thought of any of that. It was so awesome to see the wood too. It's just like, you're gonna make this into wood from that. I was just, that's just amazing. I really had no experience of any of that. Really like that kind of thing too, because it just gives me so much, I don't know, connection. So he gave me a tour, and then for like maybe like 2 hours, he just kept handing me different guitars to play to see how I played and what the different songs I did was like. And which was, it was just like, wow, that was awesome. And then he goes, I know what you need. And then at one point, and so at one point he came over and to we were talking in his office, and it was just just like a day of heaven. And I said I would. We talked about the details in the neck, and he said, "What are you thinking of?" And I told him I had like these symbols, and like I had like a symbol and a Star of David and an eclipse. And I said, but I don't want them big, like, or I don't want anything like gaudy. I want like really, small. And so I said, like this big, and I was wearing the Chuck Taylor tennis shoes, and he came over from the other. This is Richard. Comes over from the other side of the desk, and he measures the little spinet on the, on the side of my tennis shoe, and
I
says
love
it
it.
will be no bigger than that. And that's what basically this is. That's the eclipse symbol. I don't know if you
I
can.
can see that. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
So.
beautiful.
And the Star of David and the heart and the symbol and the peace sign.
Yeah.
It's just perfect.
How? Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. We'll talk to him about measuring tennis shoes.
Okay.
That's really
So,
that's Richard.
yeah.
That's really him.
Well,
Yes,
and
it
what's
is.
really interesting is in full disclosure, I actually have a SONiA model here. It's one of my favorite guitars.
Look, he's pulling it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's
Isn't
amazing.
this cool?
Yeah,
And
that's the coolest thing ever.
well, I mean, what to be honest, what attracted me to it first were the specs, the H body, the wider neck. It just, and the inlays were cool. I mean, I gotta admit it. But I remember playing it for a little while, and I remember saying to Richard, it doesn't quite have the power and the bite that I think I really want. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, well, that's not what it's about. It's a singer-songwriter's guitar. It's not the focus. It's the backup singer. It's behind the artist, and that's what we designed and built it for. And I stopped and thought for a minute, and I said, it's absolutely perfect. That's exactly what it is. It's a backup singer, and it's a great
Yes.
backup singer.
Yes.
So once again, he nailed it, and it was anyway. It was enlightening to me about how he can interpret what is needed for somebody and just produce it so perfectly. So
Yeah. Like, it's amazing. How does he do that? I have no idea. I have no idea, but
Th-
it helps. It's where I am writing songs still. And this is the one that precedes that one, but it's basically the exact same thing. But I think that one has the SONiA in it,
it
backwards.
does. Yes.
Cool, cool. So and you can get it either in the different kinds of rosewood as well. The guitar, I think you can get it in different rosewoods, but then again, this preceded all the rosewood issue.
So
It gets
what
older
is
than
that
that.
one? What is that one made from?
Brazilian rosewood on the back and the spruce
Okay.
top.
Yeah.
And so I'll never take this out of the country because I don't want them to take it away from me. Because I'm in Germany every year, so I would not do that. But my other one is the newer rosewood, and it's also aging very, very well. It's
Although to be
but this was the SONiA model before the SONiA model.
right. Well, to be
So.
honest, they have changed the CITES thing so that for your personal instrument, you should be able to take it across lines for performance and such.
I'm just so my other one,
But I understand the concern.
yeah.
I'm not getting on a plane if she's on the plane and her guitar's on the plane and we're going to Germany. I'm not getting on it because I just don't think there'd be one moment of peace. I think she'd just be digging through the bottom of the plane. You know, like get me
No, no,
down
no, no,
there.
no, 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 no. This one flies right over my head.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
one is I never I these I mean I have the strong the Calton case, but I don't no, it's right with me. And I sometimes I use not even just a hard case, and it goes right in the overhead and it's no issue.
You know
Or
that's
or if it's too big for the overhead, the pilot will keep it or I put it in the closet, but it's no.
wi-
It's not going underneath.
women can get away with that. Women can
Ah!
get away. Men
You got
can't. We
you have to
can't.
you
We
got to put on the lipstick and
yeah. No, I mean,
wink wink.
they'll just throw it underneath. I remember watching my OMPW get thrown from the baggage handler at Newark. I was like in the fourth or fifth row, and I was at a window seat, and I all of a sudden I was watching them load luggage, and they were loading it up in the front, and I saw my guitar just fly and land on the thing, and it was like, and you're just starting, you're just getting going. You're going to be 4 hours in that seat, and you have no idea what pieces of
In
kindling,
the, in the
you
few
know.
times I have had to hand it like in a small plane, where there are like 10 seats or 12 seats,
Yeah,
and I have had to, and it's full. Um, I hand it to the guy directly. I say, "This is my baby. This
yeah,
you have to,
yeah.
and they have, and that's when it's in a the Calton case too, which is also the case is important.
Yeah, yeah,
But now the law is such that the TSA ruling is that you can carry it on.
yeah,
You can't just print it out and hand it to them, and maybe a little mascara. I don't know.
yeah. And I think the size of your guitar,
Yes, it does. It's small.
especially the size, Eric Sky's Sky model is small.
Hmm.
It's a small guitar, and
Yeah, it's
you get
smaller
that
body.
dreadnought. You get those extra couple inches on the dreadnought, and
I know.
it just gets ugly on the airplane.
Yeah, United Airlines one time before that great song, United
United
Breaks
Brakes
Guitar,
guitars, yeah.
right? But before that, my experience was this: they told me I couldn't take it on in the case, and because it wouldn't close. They said I didn't. Usually, if I try it, the 737s, it's fine for all the Southwest planes, but and yes, that is a Southwest endorsement. They've been very awesome to me. But I will say that I took it out of the case and I just had it. And a pilot came over to me and said, "Why isn't that in a case?" And I said, "Because they wouldn't let me take it in a case, but they didn't say it, And the reason was it wouldn't fit. So we took like 4 or 5 blankets, wrapped it up. It was definitely thicker than my case would have ever been, and it went in the overhead with me on United, and that's how that was probably the last time on my dime we flew United.
U- United was the tosser of my OMPW as well, and because I live in Monterey,
Ah,
and United at one point when I was traveling extensively, 100K a year, United was really my only thing. And at that point, they weren't even flying regional jets in here. They were flying these Brazilias, which are 25 seaters, and they had no room. So you literally, as you walked on the tarmac in either San Francisco or LA to get on the plane, you gave them your case, and they would take it and put it underneath, and then you'd get it back when you hit the ground. But it wouldn't even fit inside. I mean, you couldn't get a Stratocaster in a gig bag in them. You know, there's
yeah.
just
I've
no
done
room.
everything. I've like if they've people are nice and I've had them like strapped on seats, and like a person. I mean, really, and
Yeah,
I
just
think
get a
yeah,
seatbelt extension. Yeah,
Delta.
just get a seatbelt extension, and just put
Yeah,
it in.
I didn't need a seatbelt extension.
For the case. Yeah, sometimes you
I
just
think I just put the body like where your butt would be, and there you
wrapped
go.
it in. Yeah,
There's I
wrapped
am.
it in.
Mhm.
Um,
And an extra
oh,
drink for the guitar.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was fine. It was exactly. It was fine.
So you write. You write on piano or guitar.
Both. I mostly write on guitar. I do write on piano, although I find myself lately playing songs that I want to sing and learn on piano more.
Mhm.
Like covers is my point. Just like, oh yeah, maybe I can play that or sing that. So, but it always leads to my own thing. So,
So
uh,
what comes first, the words or the music? Or do they come together?
the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So when I said to you earlier in weeding out the divas, I was thinking that's kind of a cool thing. I should do some thinking on that. It just really depends. I'm hunched over my guitar, this guitar, working on stuff. A lot of times I just feel like I just try something. Like I'll just try and I'll just go with it. And I just say whatever really, and then. It's almost like like they say, the best it comes through you, like a word or a groove or like if I do a whole lot of picking thing, I'll probably just break out and then and do some cool rhythmic stuff because I go to both extremes. I don't know if that's because I need to like stretch or my brain's like like if you pet a cat in one direction too long, it like creates this chemical reaction that they go wow. Like I think maybe sometimes if I'm doing one thing in one direction, it's not like a wow, but it's like the opposite. I need to do the opposite thing, and so I do, and that sometimes comes that frequently will become the song, not the thing I was really working on. It's
So
weird.
do they tend to come to you as fairly fleshed out full ideas, or are you more of a collecting snippets kind of person and then sort of flesh those out later or tie them together if you can?
Exactly, yes, Tad. I call it the Puccini method, and I only know that because my mother was a major, like she lived for opera, and she used to say that's. I would tell her when I was working on stuff. I said, "Oh, I only have like bits and bits right now." And she goes, "That's okay." She goes, "That's what Puccini said is that he gets these little ideas, and then they fit into things, and that is." Pretty much how it is. So it's rare. I mean, sometimes I will sit down and write a whole song, but it's big usually because it's been marinating like the crux of it, or I'll just be like I have a song called Ride This Ride, and that was marinating for a while after several little tiffs with my wife. And so because the chorus is I'm gonna ride this ride just as long as I can. um and yeah, and that was I wrote it, in a tiff, but it did. I had all these like little pieces of things, and
It's pretty
yeah,
cathartic, probably. Yeah.
um, or ammunition.
Yeah.
She doesn't write songs. She's a lawyer, so. Did
Has
I
she
say that? That was should have been filtered. See if I.
Yeah, you're okay.
have you ever written a song that your wife has given you a restraining order? No, you're not going to record that one.
Oh. No, she's so forgiving. She really respects my artistry and really allows me to be creative with it. I think, you know, I think to be involved with a performer, you need someone who's confident of themselves in the relationship, and she is. I know that's rare, and but yeah, we decided pretty early on it's bigger than both of us, so we kind of don't have a choice about it.
It's, I think
It's got to be.
I think it reflects in your music and your attitude and all that, that there's a freedom there. There's just a freedom in being who you are, and working how you need to work.
Yeah, yeah, and Terry is also my manager, so she's put in her time. She does all the hard stuff, and I get to, play.
But what do you like most about? Do you like your writing or do you like your playing? Which
That's a really good question. It's having done this as long as I have, it's a very good question because it change the answer what I would say changes. I consider myself a songwriter, and of course, I shouldn't say of course. In the early days when I sang and didn't play very well, I considered myself more of a songwriter. I'm a songwriter. I don't have to sing on key, or learn complicated chords or communicate here. But eventually, I don't know. I mean, like, there's something you hear and you go, what is that? I gotta learn that, and then, and like the next rung of the ladder happens, and you get to move forward, and you actually do. I mean, because really, that's just a really ignorant way of perhaps accepting where you are and moving on, but really making excuses for yourself because, I don't know anyone who doesn't at some point really love symphonic music, and it's sometimes a bit complicated, and so I think I mean, for me, I just want to express myself as best as possible, and um, um, I definitely I think but the other thing is this is that when I first many years about my first guitar playing and things, I would play a song for somebody, and they played guitar definitely a zillion times better than me, but they didn't really play the song better than me. They might play another song better than me, like all the covers and maybe their own songs, but not mine. And for me, I guess it's the trunk of the tree. It's just grown to support what I do, and I'm very satisfied with it, and I like it. And I do consider myself a pretty strong rhythm player. I like the way I play it. It's like, yeah, it works. It feels right, and it's what I want for it. So, you know, um, but I do hear myself off sometimes lately too. So maybe I've already peaked, and I'm going, oh no, it's like, and that's rare actually. But I think that's also COVID and me worrying. You know.
Well, so what have you done during this last year? I noticed that you've got a couple videos out on YouTube and such.
We
Um,
what we did was, sorry. I thought I don't even know how this computer is connected to things like this, but it is. Oh no. I answered it. And then I declined. But anyway,
oh,
so I had a tour, and I just found this flyer last night of Germany in 2020, a year ago spring. And it was canceled completely. And it was then Wibke, who's my publicist who lives in Germany, said, well, let's do these concerts anyway. And so what I did was I did these concerts um, by um, 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 on visually, so everyone started at 8 o'clock, which is 2 o'clock East Coast time. And so I did on 4/2/20. I had a concert in Darmstadt. I did it, and I would say, hey, Darmstadt. And we let everybody know over there that I was doing this. And I did it on Facebook. And it was really crazy but fun. I mean, it was like it definitely was. That was my, you know kind of real intro into, like, here I am, like, and nothing was happening basically except for that. Sometimes I had to do like three in a row. I was like, oh man, this is going to be a tough week.
wow.
But I was home and here,
Yeah.
right where I'm sitting. So but that's how I got into it. And then of course there's a lot. I did Stuttgart Pride, like like an hour concert, and they transmitted that. That was recorded on Zoom and then transmitted. And some podcasts, and things just popped up. I've been doing all of that. But I as things are starting to open up, yay! I got to see a live concert. To tie back to what you said at the beginning, I got to see a live concert Saturday night, and it was just so good to be in that room. It was half capacity, and but it was great. It was actually like kind of more of a normal Saturday night of seeing a concert or performing at one. That's cool.
I haven't gotten to actually being able to go out and go to a concert yet. Uh, but we have gotten together with friends for the first time in a long time and had dinner together and everything. And yeah, oh, I can't wait
So
to do more of it.
yeah, me too.
All my
Me too.
bad social skills are screaming out for practice because, oh, they need it.
Yeah. The thing is, last summer I was able to, and this is like the most social thing I think I did, and I did it almost every day. Is we were able to, our swimming pool was open, so we were able to go to it and sit 6 feet apart, and we wore the masks if we were rendezvous, but we could see people, and and we could order food, and and it was great. It was like that I think really kept me happier and alive.
Write little
um,
notes in bottles and throw them into the pool. Let them drift over to somebody.
we didn't do that. I should. That's awesome. I should try that. No, we didn't do that. That's really real. That would have been really. Although, yeah, because I guess the chlorine would have killed it. I mean, that was my feeling, was that chlorine's going to kill, you know,
All of
it,
it.
and I didn't get it. So, and I was really literally at a pool almost every single day. So that's a lot. But to get back, you asked me what comes first, and every single song is different. Is the real answer to that question 10 years ago. Sometimes it's a groove. You know, I mean, it might be. It's a, but that really started with that bass line. Or BYOG is a song I wrote called "Bring Your Own God," and that came out of that BYOG thing. It was like that whole song. I mean, just and but that was also not in the moment. That was definitely a okay. First, in the first verse, I talk about myself. In the second verse, I talk about the community, and in the third verse, I talk about more like history at large. I think. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of. I'm stuck on "Break a Mirror" anyway in my brain. But yeah. So that's how that works. So it really just depends on the song, or like a rhythm thing. Like I like. Which is a song called "Start," and it's that sort of African rhythm where you're like, ba, ba, da, da, ba, ba, da, 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 ba, ba. So on the upstroke, and that's just kind of unusual and fun, and or I remember trying to learn reggae where you just don't play, just let it don't and because I want to play it different. I want to overplay it, but you
Yeah.
can. And what I found out was a song I wrote called "Play the Music," and is I flip it, and so the drummer has to flip it during the choruses. The most of the song is on that, but then it goes to the downbeat on the choruses, and then it flips back up for the verse again. So it's kind of cool. I didn't know that. I just wrote it, but fortunately. I'm surrounded by geniuses.
I, th- I think it's also the nature of music, and I think that's what's pure about it, is it's like, let's figure it out.
Yes.
I mean, how do you honor the song, and how do you honor this thing you've been kind of given? I mean, it's a gift, and how do you say, wow, cool gift, Very cool thing. That's I think insight into how does your music come to you? But then again, how many really good songs do you write in your life? I mean, really good songs.
Not enough.
If yeah, not enough. But I mean, if you write two, I mean, I think that's an unbelievable achievement. We forget that work process, and we just go for that. Well, if I don't write 40 good songs in my life, what am I for? I mean, you're not Lennon and McCartney,
Yeah.
you know. I
I'm
mean,
working on the solid
Yeah.
piece there.
yeah. I just finished Stone Alone, the Bill Wyman book, and he talks tremendous amount about the Stones writing process and how they came to it, and it's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating. It was constantly in evolution until the song came out. Honky Tonk Woman was a completely different song when they started it.
It's cool. It's like that's it. That is like the powerful process. You have to like trust. You have to trust, and you have to be listening, and you have to consistently be in the moment, which you're never on automatic. Like, because you could miss that molecule that's supposed to be there.
I
Yeah,
saw
yeah. That one little thing that's supposed to be there. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Guitars for Peace.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So what happened was I donated a song to a CD a friend of mine was making, a Jewish woman who has taken on the Palestinian cause in Israel and speaks mostly just Arabic and English. She doesn't speak Hebrew anymore. Her name is Hannah Mermelstein, and she invited me and some other artists, including Ani DeFranco and Amy Ray and um, to participate, and we each donated a song, and we sold the CD. The CD is called "Flowers Against the Occupation" because the money was to go to young women in Palestine who didn't have enough money to go to college, out of into Israel proper, I'll call it. So and and so yeah, so we did that. So then I was coming over to Israel, and I got a lot of information from both sides of the track, and I always would combine people, like people who are trying to do a boycott to people who feel very strongly about Israel holding on to what it can, and protecting what it can. So, and I would copy people to each other, and so that they could talk directly. And anyway, I went, and I was invited to perform at Bida, which is at a camp where Hannah was coordinating things. So it was a very complicated process in order to get from the Israeli border into this Palestinian village, and but I did, and we came in, and as I was coming in, I got to perform there, and they were the houses on this street. It's just a rubble street. Are all behind these big, large, for the most part, like sometimes inner doorways, like if you can imagine, like stone inner doorways, but sometimes these like sort of like garage doors, just these metal sheaths. And you pick that up, and when they picked it up, there was this whole courtyard of young Palestinian girls, and probably about 100,
Mm.
110 or so. And it reminded me of my day camp because I went to a all girls Jewish camp called Camp Louise in Cascade, Maryland, and I loved it. It was sleepover camp, but they did folklore and Arabic folklore and Muslim folklore, and they learned a lot of different things, and they all got to be together, and the energy was just great. And when I came in, they were yelling and stomping, "Sonia, Sonia, Sonia." I was like, "Okay, I'm coming." It was like I'd never been there before, and the whole already my senses were just like, "Am I going to get bombed? I'm a Jewish American." I'm like, you know. I didn't though, and in fact, it was around the time that my album called "No Bomb is Smart," which in Hebrew is "Ein Pitzatza Chachama." That means no bomb is smart, and and I did a little bit of it in Hebrew. And so anyway, that song and that from that album, but live, not on the album. So anyway, so I did some songs, and when I finished, they loved my guitar playing, and they said, "Can we have your guitar?" And it was this. No, actually, it was my other Santa Cruz, but it was no. I mean, that's like, can you have my left foot? No, or my head? No, you cannot. So, but I said, but I promise I will get you a guitar. And bing. So, I asked around for people. People have guitars in their closet, and with missing strings or bowed or whatever. And I just thought if I can get some guitars there, that would be really cool because there's so many, that people just have in places. So, and we have Americans, we have so much stuff, right? So, so I did. So I got guitars donated to me, and I got one for them, and I gave it to Hannah, and when she went back, she was able to deliver it. So I made good on my province, and I just thought, you know what? There are people around the world and around this country, their children, who could really use guitars. So in third world countries and in other places in the United States where people can't afford them. And now what I've done is really tied it into an organization called Hungry for Music, and that's with a guy that's running it. He's full time because there's so much to do, and I felt
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really
yeah.
not doing it right. So if you're still interested in doing that, if you've got a guitar, he does that with all kinds of instruments. And Hungry for Music, if you Google that, you'll find him, and
Well,
he collects them from all over this country.
we'll make sure that links to all of this are included with the podcast so that
Awesome.
anybody who,
Yeah, yeah.
wants to follow up, uh, donating guitars, contributing money, contributing whatever they can, or
Yes.
just, looking into getting CDs or merch from you, Sonia,
Cool.
will be able to do that very easily because we want to support all that.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
You know,
So,
there's about Fender's music in schools program.
mm, 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 mm.
It's huge. They give
I should
away
know
about
about it.
yeah, you might not. Yeah, you're an acoustic player. Um, I think they give away 5 to 10,000 instruments a year.
That's awesome.
Really do a lot of it. Yeah,
I,
for a company that's probably making $8 gazillion a year and has absolutely no tie to music or soul at all. Yeah, the
right.
fact that they should give it away probably is a pretty good idea. I like that.
That's
Um,
great.
but yeah, a lot of good stuff out here. We
That's
have a lot
great.
of veterans organizations and stuff that we can load up folks with.
Cool, cool. Yeah. It's good. It's yeah. I think, I think through the year too that there's a lot of transformation that's happening around, and also just, I guess the other thing that I love about Santa Cruz, just to tie it back to that, is that they're politically correct, and that they're the only like pro, sustainable guitars. They don't cut down trees to make guitars, and you instantly have the great sound. You don't have to wait 35 or 42 years for the wood to it already. You can see, like, I mean, all my guitars, all my Santa Cruz have that warm, just sound. They sound as good as they look, because they look so cool. But yeah, they sound better than they look, actually, I think. But yeah, but that
Yeah.
has always been a really big plus for me, because I can say it's the only guitar that does this, and I think that's still true. Santa Cruz is the only guitar that's not destroying the earth while it makes these amazing instruments.
All the things that they do for repurposing and reharvesting and things like that. I think the thing that gives me the greatest joy in doing it is knowing that we're supporting what Richard's philosophy is.
Yeah.
And Richard's philosophy is people first, you know, people over profit, the whole bit. And it's pretty beautiful.
Yes.
Very, very, not enough. Let's not say very few people. Let's say not enough of that. We could all use a lot more of it, and do that.
But I think we're moving in that direction. I really do. I think we will move in that. We are moving in that direction. But I think it's important to measure where we've been. I think it's hard to see the little pieces. And perhaps they're even almost invisible, but that needs to be counted, and it needs to be recognized, because absolutely there is forwardness, there is connectiveness, and we get sold on the fear, and how we should be scared, and how terrible it is, because that's what glues us to our TVs. But there is positive movement forward, absolutely, in massive amounts. And I it's just we're
Weeding out
getting
the
there.
divas.
Yeah, yeah, weeding out the
It's
divas.
just weeding out the divas.
That's what we do.
Yeah. That's I can only
we
I can only see what you're gonna do when we get done with this.
Oh my goodness.
I bet there's a couple minutes of notes being made
Oh
about
man,
weeding out the
man.
divas. Yeah. That's pretty funny. You have been incredibly gracious. Anything you want to say?
I love this. This is so awesome. Thank you so much. I love this. I love talking with you guys, and I just hope we gave enough to you know,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
just get rid of that.
the fact that you haven't let it out of your hands for an hour and a
Yeah,
half
yeah.
is,
Oh,
is
we're one. We are one. There's
I,
no, yeah,
I want to
no,
know if I can order a tropical fish sticker set to put on my guitar, though. I mean,
well,
come on, that's pretty cool.
it is very cool, and they glow in the dark.
Oh, better yet.
But see, most of my audience doesn't see it because I have to like, because I'm on the light, like I have to like ask them to turn off the lights and stuff, and I usually don't have all those beautiful production possibilities. But it does do that. I have to say there were a couple more fish. I removed them because the clarity of the guitar, even though this is a songwriter guitar, it has a tremendous amount of clarity, and unlimited, I would say. And so anything you do to this top piece of uh,
Yeah.
perfection mutes the sound a teeny bit. So these stickers do that. And it's not a problem. I mean, it's fine. But I didn't realize that. And so, if you're gonna do it,
Well, we'll
be
wait until we,
careful.
we'll wait until we talk to Richard. He knows some very high tech sound
I,
people. Maybe
I
they can design stickers. But,
I was
we won't
so
have
I was so scared to show him I did this. I think when did I put these on? Was it Great Barrier Reef in Australia? I couldn't resist because we really did see these fish. It's fantastic, and also in Richard's legacy, and as that continues and flourishes. It's part of the whole thing. They take the coral reef and the earth and the climate, all of it very very seriously. So I have them. They're swimming in pride with pride.
There you go. Well, and I have a kind of a joke. Sometimes people write in on one of the guitar forums. Oh, I put a ding in the top of my guitar. What should I do? And I always say, well, just put a sticker over it.
Was made here, or the date, right? When and what and where, when and where. Yeah, I know. I'm wearing it out so much. It's not quite Willie Nelson material, but I've worn it out so much, and my other one even more so. I think is starting. But they love it. Guitar makers or they love that. They love that you're so with their guitar.
playing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually
It's
spending your time with it.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of automakers, They don't want to see it aging. They want to just spit polish. But and I did polish this, but there's still a lot up because when I play, I put the plectrum here like
Yes,
that.
you taught me that trick
And,
at the breakfast we had at the Santa Cruz Guitar Company
and
at the
you
35th anniversary.
yes, and I think I had wine that morning too. That was fun.
Yeah,
But do you do it? Do you do it? Because there is a trend happening. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
okay, so it gets a little gross here, so you have to, whatever. Mm.
It keeps people from wanting to borrow your pick.
No, they still want the. Actually, not. Well, who knows? COVID, who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
all that'll change. So, I don't know.
Um, we look forward to having you back in the world again.
Thank you.
It sounds like we talked to Catfish Keith, and Catfish he's been in Europe every year for 25 years or 30 years or something like that. And when we talked to him, he was at home, and there was really nothing they could do. I mean, he travels probably 250 days a year extensively, and all of a sudden that's all gone. And now as I start to see him announce things coming back, and I start to see other things happen, um, it's it's exciting. We can't wait to have you back out there. We will post what we need to get people in contact with you. And after we sign off, if you'd just stay on, Sonia, just for a second, that would be great.
Thank you.
But what a privilege, what an honor. Great laughs, great fun. I can't wait for people to see this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia. This is really wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank
right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So everybody, look for number 25 and 26 and 27 and 28, and we'll see you down the road. I think that something that's pretty important is that no matter what we do in our lives and how we create, if people smile when they see what we've done,
Yeah.
we're a success.
And keep playing your guitar.
Yeah, keep playing your guitar.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is really, really fun, and I can't wait to share it as well. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this installment of the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. For more music-related fun, please join the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at scgcpf or santacruzguitarplayers.com. If you have any questions or possible podcast topics, please contact us. If you have a product or service that you feel would be of value to our listeners, please consider adding your support and keeping the coffee pot on. Contact us for more information. We ask that you hit the like, follow, bell, or bookmark buttons so we can keep you informed of upcoming podcast episodes. We hope you enjoyed Santa Cruz Coffee Break. Now it's time to go play your guitar.